Welcome to this video. We are going to get some more practice on quadratic functions. So if you struggled on some of the past problems from my other videos, this could be a good resource to get some additional practice in. Okay, so let's begin right away. As always, I recommend you pause the video and try the problem first on your own before watching how I solve it. Okay, number one, the graph of the quadratic function above shows two x-intercepts and a y-intercept. Which of the following equations represents the graph of the quadratic function above? So go ahead and try this one first on your own. There's lots of ways to approach this, so the way I'm going to solve this might be totally different than the way you thought of doing it. What I'm thinking first right away is these choices are given in vertex form. So maybe let's find this vertex first. What's the x-coordinates of the vertex? Remember, I said this in some other video. If we're given two x-intercepts, we know parabolas are symmetric about their vertex. So the vertex is smack dab in between the two x-intercepts. Where's the middle? We can take the average of these two numbers. 6 minus 2, that's 4, divided by 2, that is 2. So I know the x-coordinate here is 2. I don't know the y value yet, but I can already eliminate two choices, D and A, right away. Okay? Similarly, because I'm lazy, I'm going to try to plug in this point over here to see if x is 0, do I get y equals 6? Okay, so for example, in choice B, if I plug in x is 0, I would get minus 2 inside the parentheses. We square that, that's 4, divided by negative 2, that's minus 2, plus 8, that's 6. That looks right. But if I plug it into this one, the only difference is this plus 9. So again, I'll do it one more time. 0 minus 2, that's minus 2. Minus 2 squared is positive 4. Divided by negative 2, that's negative 2. Plus 9, that's 7. That's not 6. So eliminate C, answer is B. Okay, so I didn't have to expand any of these out if that's what you did. Hopefully you see that. Hopefully my way was maybe a little quicker. I didn't have to find the y coordinate of this vertex to be able to pick this out. I didn't even have to really write anything. As you see, I just crossed out choices as I worked through it. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful if you solved it a different way and thought my way was easier. If you thought my way was confusing or too complicated, then stick with your way if you still got it right. Okay, if x plus y squared is 324, x minus y squared is 16, what is the value of xy? Okay, so this one, we probably have to use those two formulas. It'll be x squared plus 2xy plus y squared is 324. X squared minus 2xy plus y squared is 16. Okay, how does that help us? Well, I can solve for x squared plus y squared on both of them. So 324 minus 2xy is 16 plus 2xy. Okay, 324 minus 2xy, that's x squared plus y squared. 16 plus 2xy, that's again x squared plus y squared. So set them equal to each other. Okay, now we're interested in xy, so let's solve for xy. 324, minus 16. What is that? That should be 308 is equal to 4xy. So xy is 308 over 4. Okay. And that is 77. If I did it in my head correctly. Is it C? Yeah. Okay. That's how I would solve that one. Okay, number 3. In the figure above, the vertex of the graph of the quadratic function is at 3, 0. The points B and C lie on the parabola. If ABCD is a rectangle with perimeter 38, which the following represents the equation of the parabola. So, looks like again is a vertex form, but the vertex 3, 0 is for in all of them already, so that won't help us. So we got to figure out which value of this stretching factor is, the a, if you learn it as a times x minus h squared plus k. So how do we do that? Well, perimeter of that rectangle is 38. So what's the length of this side over here? This is 8 plus 1, that's 9, right? So from here to here, it's 9. Over here, because the rectangle, it should be 9 as well, so 18. So there is 20 left, right? 38 minus 18, that's 20. So these sides must be 10. Okay, now how does that help us? Well, we know one of the points now, right? Does this question even work now that I think about it? Remember, I was saying over here, the vertex should be symmetric about the parabola is symmetric about the vertex. So for the same y value, these have the same y value, right? They have to, because it's a rectangle. Then this should be smack dab in the middle of -1 and 8, which is not 3. It should be 3.5. So this question, I don't think, is an actual valid problem. So whoever wrote this problem did not do a good job. Okay, unless I'm thinking about it incorrectly. But I'm going to skip this one. Okay, so my argument is, again, parabolas are symmetric about the vertex. Okay, these two should have the same y value because they tell us this is a rectangle. Okay, so that means that it should be, this vertex should be in the middle of -1, 0 and 8, 0. 8 plus -1, that's 7. Divided by 2, that's 3.5. But it said it's 3 here. So I don't think this is a valid problem. So we're skipping that. Okay. If ax plus b times 2x minus 5 is 12x squared plus kx minus 10, for all values of x, what is the value of k? Okay, so we probably need to FOIL this out is what I'm thinking. So this is 2ax squared minus 5ax plus 2bx minus 10. Okay, so let's match terms now. 2a, that's in front of the x squared, equals 12. So a is 6. Okay, now minus 5 plus 2b, minus 5a plus 2b should be k. Okay, sorry, so this should have been minus 5b. Okay, so similarly, I can, this minus 5b should be 10. So b is 2. Now I have a and b. Let's plug into here. So k is minus 5 times 6 plus 2 times 2, which is minus 30 plus 4, which is minus 26. Did I do this right? Yes. Answer is A. Okay, so you got to FOIL this out and then start matching the coefficients. All right. This guy says the equation above describes the motion of an object thrown into the air. G is gravity. This equation, if you know any physics, this should look familiar. This is like one of the kinematics equations. Okay, so I'm going to skip all that since I already know it, but you should read it if you don't know what it is. Which of the following equations represents the motion of the object if the object was thrown upwards from 40 meters above the ground with an initial speed of 35 meters per second? Okay, so initial speed is v0, the initial speed. So v0 is 35. If the object was thrown upward from 40 meters above the ground, okay, that should be your h0, the initial height. The height of the object above the ground, t seconds after, that's h. h0 is the initial height from which the object was thrown. The initial height is 40 meters, so h0 is 40 You just got to be able to recognize those variables. And now, which equation is that? By the way, g, they tell us, is 9.8 meters per second. So it should not be a or b right away because it's minus half g. Okay, so you already know that should be c or d. Okay, now we said that v0 is 35, h is 40, so the answer is d. Okay, how many seconds will it take the object to reach its maximum height? Hint, the function has a maximum point at t equals to negative b over 2a. Does this look familiar? This is the vertex. And that makes sense because this is a quadratic. It's a parabola. Okay? So, I'm assuming it's asking us to use this equation over here. So, t, how many seconds will it take the object to reach the height? Yeah, okay. Because t is time. So, it will be, what's b? It's 35 over 2 times minus 4.9. Okay. If you're not allowed a calculator, how can you solve this? This is minus 35 over 2 times, well, okay, let's make it all positive. And then 4.9 is 49 over 100, right? So 100 over 49, because we're dividing by 4.9. Okay. Not 100 over 49, 10 over 49, I think, right? Because this is 49, yeah, 49 over 10. So we take the reciprocal, 10 over 49, okay? Now we can start simplifying. This is a 1, this is a 5, this is a 7, this is a 5, right? So it's 25 over 7. Answer C. Oh, I totally got cut off, but I was just simplifying. Okay, so if you're not allowed a calculator for this problem, you gotta be smart about the simplification. I don't want to divide this, do long division and divide this. So I did some hacks to make my life easier. Not really hacks, I just know my algebra, basically. Okay, what is the maximum height from the ground the object will reach to the nearest meter? So, the maximum height occurs at this time. So, the height that actually happens, we plug in this time into this equation. Okay, so it should be minus 4.9 times 25 over 7 squared plus 35 times 25 over 7 plus 40. Okay, so again, if we're not allowed a calculator, we got to do this by hand. So minus 49 over 10 times 25 squared over 49. Okay, just distribute that square to both of them. This one should be 25 times 5, that's 125 plus 40. Okay, this would cancel. What's 25 squared? I don't want to do 25 squared. You know, I think I know it, but I'm not confident. I don't want to risk it. So, well, 25 is 5 squared, so this is 5 minus 5 to the 4th over 10, okay, plus 165, and this is, if I change it to a minus 5 cubed over 5 plus 165, and this is, that's 125, 125 divided by 5, that's 25, so 165 minus 25, that is 1, I did some math error probably. What did I do wrong? Let's see. Even I made a mistake here in some simplification. Let's see what happened. This seems right, so, oh, this is 2. That's probably why, okay? Oh, this is to the nearest meter. I'm like, there's no fraction. This clearly should be a fraction. So this is 125 divided by 2 plus 165. What's 125 divided by 2? That's 62.5, right? Minus 62.5 plus 165. Okay, so that looks like it is A then. This is 102.5. So the nearest meter, 103. All right, that's that one. The setup was very easy, but you can see if we had to do it by hand, the simplification is a little tedious. Okay, how long will it take the object to hit the ground to the nearest second? It hits the ground when the height is 0. That makes sense, right? So 0 is minus 4.9 t squared plus 35t plus 40. And this you need a calculator for sure, unless you want to use quadratic formula. But then you probably would get a radical, so just use a calculator. I already did this beforehand. T is 8.145. To the nearest second, that is 8 then. Okay? So the key there was you had to set the height 0, because that's when it hits the ground. Okay. The equation above describes the height of an object t seconds after it dropped from a height of h0 feet above the ground. This is exactly the same as over there, except there's no initial velocity, because you're just simply dropping it. So v0 is 0. And instead of this minus 4.9, because this is in meters per second, or the unit is meters, and here is meters per second squared. This is in units of feet. That's the only difference. I recognize that formula as well if you know physics. Okay. Anyway, if a hiker dropped a water bottle from a cliff 150 feet above the ground, how many seconds will it take to hit the ground? So again, this tells us this is h0, because h0 is the height above the ground, the initial height above the ground. Okay? So, minus 16t squared plus 150. It hits the ground when the height is 0. All right? Now, is this doable by hand? Let me look at my notes. And you probably need a calculator, but hopefully you know how to solve this. 150 is 16t squared, so t is, technically it's plus and minus, but you can't really have negative time, right? At least for this level of math. So it'll be square root of 150 over 16. Okay, and plug into your calculator, you should get 3.0 something, so then answer is B. Okay, and that's it for this problem set. This question, this whole page basically, very common questions. So if you did not know how to set them up, I would highly recommend you study these problems carefully and of course try additional ones afterward. The key points are you have to be able to figure out what these constants are from the given information. Okay? When something reaches its maximum height, that's the vertex of the parabola. Okay? And when it hits the ground, that's when the height is 0. Those are the small ideas that you need to know. All right, and once you get those ideas down, then it's just going through the motions of solving the equations algebraically, right? So hopefully this was helpful. Please like and subscribe, as always, if you found it helpful in any way.